That wasn't bad. that was pretty cool.
Logo and intro music. Very nice.
All right.
Very
We'll just
nice.
have to nail it every fucking time.
You have to do that manually. There's got to be a way.
Yep. We'll have to figure it out.
Good times. Good times. Speaking of good times, I had another fantastic week.
But lovely.
In more shit you can't make up that happens in my life, coming off of the shit week I had last week, which y'all heard about, or the week before, I should say.
Literal shit week, right?
Literal shit week. Yeah. What was it? Thursday night. I'm working on something. I can't remember what I'm working on. Oh yeah. So Cooper ended up getting sick. So he shit in his crate.
Nice.
I threw his bedding away. I just threw it all away. So he had nothing on the floor. He chewed up the plastic mat that goes underneath. So he had nothing to lay on except like the wires. I'm like, I can't. I love this fucking dog. I'm not gonna make him do that.
Right.
I don't have to love a dog to not make him lay on wires. But so I took an old piece of rubber mat, like from the old martial arts school.
Yeah.
I cut that down. So I had to go downstairs and I had to get my T-square and one of my utility knives. So I go in the tool room and there's about,
I was gonna say I know where this is going.
Yeah, half an inch of water.
Oh,
tool room, and the sump pump is running, but just overflowing. It's just overflowing.
Oh.
So yeah. So I'm thinking
it sucks, pump.
Yeah, you ain't shitting. So of course I'm thinking worst case scenario. I go outside. We look at where the water comes out. There's nothing coming out. This thing is clearly running, but nothing's coming out. So I'm like, shit. It's crushed. There's got to be a line that's crushed. This pipe runs from inside the house, under the deck in the back, and then under the stone patio.
So, of course,
all that shit would have to come out. It'd be a giant pain in the ass to get to. So keep in mind too, this is 8 o'clock at night.
Of course, because why would it be like, during the day when you're just chilling, hanging out, doing nothing?
Yeah. So we stick a wet vac in there. We pump out over 45 gallons of water and don't get the level to go down at all.
Oh, my
it's just
God.
running into the house faster than we can pump it out. So your
Call
mom
the fire department.
For what?
They must have pumps. They can put the water in. Can they take it out?
Yeah, because now I have to burn the house down. Insurance. So your mom ends up calling the pump guy, who is in Oxford, which, as you know, is where your brother lives, about 10 minutes away from you. This is now 8:15. He's like, all right, yeah. He goes, I'm leaving here now. He goes, I'll be there in about a half hour, 45 minutes. I'm like, no, you won't, because I know how long it takes to get from there to here. And you're right yet. Oh. So he ends up showing up about 9:30, maybe a little after 9:30. Comes in, he's in the house for probably about 45 minutes. Comes upstairs, tells me he thinks it's the line.
Ugh.
So I'm like, you son of a bitch. He goes, all right. He goes, if you have a garden hose, he goes, I can check for sure. Give him a garden hose. He hooks it up to the pump, and the pump's not pumping out through that hose either. So it turns out it's not the line. Thank God. So I guess, the silver lining is I didn't have to pay for a new, line to be put in and do a lot of manual labor.
Good.
So he goes back to the pump itself, pulls it out, and the pump has a crack in the bottom of it. So it's just basically sucking through and pushing it back down into the hole. And that's where you're getting kind of bubbling on top. But happens to have one in his car or in his, in his truck. So he goes out and he puts one in. But, there's nothing better than 11 o'clock on a Thursday night. Spend $5 so that your house doesn't flood.
Right.
So, yeah, good times. That was a lot of fun. And then the next day I go into work and I find out that my Jeep that I just finally decided to put some money into, I bought some new tires for, I think you saw them.
Yeah.
With bigger tires. Needs about $2,500 worth of work.
Ugh.
So yeah, it's been fun.
Lovely.
It's been fun.
Well,
so hit that like button and
like and subscribe, comment, and listen to us just talk shit about our shitty lives.
At least you're alive.
Yeah. At least you have your health.
No, actually, I had my first heart attack at 48, and I'm diabetic, so it's not going so great either. Thanks for bringing it up.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah. How about you? Your week, all right?
Yeah, it was fine.
Oh, fuck off.
I mean,
yeah, it was fine.
All my days kind of blend together, so it doesn't It's just
Same
so,
day. Every day is Monday until you hit Friday.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's fun. All right. Well, let's jump right in.
All right.
Today, your topic is cryptids. This time I gave you a heads up, so I let you do some prep.
And we did a little bit of research for this one.
we actually had to do some work.
Not that we like don't know everything about cryptids. We just wanted to make sure, you know.
Right. Yeah, and I went a little outside the norms for these ones.
That's right.
So basically, we each picked 3 of them to go over, and we'll be introducing you guys to some things that you may never have heard of, or maybe don't care about, or maybe you have heard of and you want to know more, or sometimes it's just fun to hear the same shit over and over again told by different people.
Yeah, getting different takes. I mean, that's what I do. All the podcasts I listen to are the same. It's the same shit, but it's like people taking different parts of it and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Right. All right. So in any case, we haven't discussed these with each other either prior to today, so we'll be learning about these together. So
we do know, however, we did not pick the same ones. We made sure to text my mother, hey, I'm picking these 3. Dad's picking these 3. Make sure none of them are the same. So we should not have any overlap.
I'm 100% positive there's still going to be overlap.
There might be a little bit.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, what is a cryptid? A cryptid is an animal whose existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science. You've all probably heard of the heavy hitters in cryptozoology. Bigfoot, the granddaddy of them all. Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti. I'm not Christian. Give me some of the other ones. I stole the big 3, but
the skunk ape, Champy, goblins, trolls, things of that nature. I think too there's kind of a bleed over between like folklore and mythology in cryptids. Not we think of cryptids as like Bigfoot, something that people have evidence for, or the Loch Ness Monster people have pictures for. But I consider cryptids things that people think are real,
or thought at once they were real. Like
right. So right, exactly. So there might be a mythology or a lore around it, but at one point people thought these things existed. Right. So I kind of think they kind of meld together.
Right. Unicorns, vampires, the female orgasm.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I see what you did there.
Oh,
you did that face a lot on this show.
Oh, that's
all right. So I use the word cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is the study of said creatures. Mainstream science tends to frown on cryptozoology.
Very much so.
Very much so, and possibly rightly so, because it's kind of important to note that no degree is required or formal training is required to declare yourself a cryptozoologist.
Right. You could technically be a doctor in cryptozoology and have no schooling whatsoever. In fact, I'm a doctor of cryptozoology. Thank you.
You're welcome. When did you graduate?
None of your fucking business.
So, yes, science tends to shun cryptids. An argument can be made for either side.
Oh, well, of course.
I guess my problem with science's take on cryptids is basically that's how science starts. It starts with an unknown. It starts with something on the fringe. People study it and eventually, come up with some answers,
right?
To either prove or disprove,
right?
So lighten up science.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent.
Here we go.
Graham Hancock, actually, he got a lot of flack for his show. What was it, Ancient Apocalypse, and like all of his Rogan appearances and whatever podcasts he does, because he is a scientist that like thinks outside the box. And there was just something with the pyramids that he was like, no, the pyramids like have these chambers. There's this inside. This is what it is, and everyone was like, no way. This is what they are. They were made for the pharaohs to be buried in. Meanwhile, they've never found a body in a pyramid. Actually, I don't think that's true. So don't take me on that. I think I just made that up. No, but it sounded right. I was confident about it at first.
I've actually heard that too, but I don't think it's true.
Right. But anyway, there are the way the pyramids are set up, Graham Hancock was like, oh, this is what it's used for. And mainstream science was like, no, you're a fucking idiot. Well, guess what? They just found out that that's what those rooms were fucking used for. And everyone's like, oh, someone owes Graham Hancock an apology. Because it was his peers that were like, you're fucking dumb. And this is a guy who was asking those questions. Like you said, it starts with a question. Well, this is the guy who's not going off of what we already know or think we know. He's saying, hey, I have this. My hypothesis is maybe it was used for something else. And everyone was like, you're a fucking idiot. And guess what? He was right.
I think what gives cryptozoologists a bad rap too is like you get like the I'll use it as an example, but the Bigfoot guys.
You get Bobo.
You get Bobo. You get the Matt Moneymaker who's like, it's known that Squatches have night vision. Well, how the fuck would you know that Squatches have night vision when you don't even know if a Squatch is real?
Right.
So they kind of make declarations on things and call them fact because they decided it was true.
Right.
So. Yeah, in any case, so the field of cryptozoology is largely made up of the exact type of people you would think it would be made up of.
People like us.
Overweight, middle-aged, balding, bespectacled virgins. Wait.
None of those are true for me.
Not a virgin. I'm not a virgin.
You're definitely not a virgin.
I do fit every other category on there. So, all right. If you got nothing else, I'll jump into my first one, and I guess we'll just bounce back and forth and see where we end up with this.
Yeah. Do you want to do like your three first, my three second, or do you want to just kind of go back?
We'll go back to you do one. I think it'd be more fun for the listeners, so they don't have to get bored with one of our stupid ass voices.
Yeah, and me, or you, but you wouldn't get bored because
no,
I
like the sound of my own voice. Oh, you meant of yours?
Yeah.
All right. So the first one I picked, and I hope you've heard of it. It's one of my favorites. There's not a lot of information on this one, and actually I picked a couple that are a little bit short because they're a little bit less known and less known of.
Mm-hmm.
But number one on my list, and the one that inspired me to think of doing this episode, is the Fresno Nightcrawler.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
When I was doing my research, one of the tabs that came up was the Fresno Nightwalker, and I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of that. And I mean, maybe I have, but let's
This one's pretty cool. So basically, it starts on November 5th in 2007. A Fresno man named Jose was woken late night, early morning by his dog's barking. He checked his security system,
and that's as how most things start. My dog was barking.
Yeah, dog was barking.
Yeah,
really, and ate my dog. So yeah, so
I actually I have something like that in mind.
Oh, that's great. Now I'm excited. So he checked his security system and he saw through the cameras at a height of about 1.5 meters with no arms and no visible body, a small head that appears to sit directly atop the legs, walking across his yard on stilt-like feet, what appeared to be a white pair of pants. Now, I'm actually shocked this occurred in November, for the simple reason that anybody who knows anything knows that you don't wear white pants after Labor Day. So it's a little shocking. This should have been a summer thing, but yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, I have seen this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking up pictures for reference.
Yeah, pull one up and we'll show people what they look like.
Yeah, hold on, let me find this.
And I'll keep going while you're doing that. If you
don't
mind. So he also ran to his window, but these were not visible to the naked eye. They were only visible on the surveillance system. They couldn't figure out how to rewind and get the footage while it was happening. So he basically just recorded the screen. So that's why what you're going to see. Yeah, that's it. That's what you're going to see is a little wonky and blurry because it's actually recording of the screen.
Oh, these ones are cute though.
Well, that's not real.
I wouldn't be afraid of that guy coming at me, but if I just saw it like this right here, I'd be a little afraid.
The guy in the middle.
Oh my God.
Rainbows.
Oh my God. Do you know what this reminds me of?
No. The Jimmy Neutron pants episode?
Yes. He somehow animates all the pants in their town.
Why would you think of that?
I don't know. And I spelled his name horribly wrong. I don't know why that came to my head, but that's what I fucking first thought of.
That's great. So Jose's footage appeared on episode 2 of the first season of Fact or Faked, the Paranormal Files. Do you remember that show where they had those guys? One was an FBI agent.
Yeah.
The hot chick from Destination Unknown, the hot chick, Jael.
Yep.
And they could not debunk it. They tried setting up puppets and clothing lines and running them across the lines, and they couldn't make it look kind of anywhere near the way Jose's looked. It's actually been checked out by a couple of people who can't really make heads nor tails nor feet of it.
Right.
It scared the shit out of Jose. He stayed home for a couple of weeks and didn't even want to go out of his house after that. So that kind of tells you something right there. Typically, if people are lying, they want to go out and make their rounds and tell their story and, get themselves famous. There have been a few other sightings, but the only seemingly credible ones were in 2011 in Yosemite National Park.
Really?
Yep. Again, a brief one. 2017 in Poland. And the last known sighting was in the place you love to go, Montana, in 2020. And all were on closed circuit television. So there's been no actual sightings. They've all been through screens.
So it's just a pair of walking pants.
It's a pair of walking pants.
That's so weird. That's odd.
Yeah, I'm sure your mom and I said that to you when you were younger. That shirt's so old it can walk itself to the laundry.
Probably not. I don't think I've ever heard that. That sounds like something your parents would say.
Probably. No, they really didn't say anything without swears in it to me. So that is the legend of the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Cool. I like it. That's actually kind of spooky. I'm not gonna lie. If I woke up and I saw just pants,
yeah.
At first, I would think I was dreaming. Yeah, 100% dreaming.
People suspect it's a person on stilts, but man, that crotch line goes all the way up to the head. So
right,
and you can
you can clearly see that it's there's two legs.
Unless it's a dwarf kind of hunched up in a little ball.
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's a video of it. But does it show it walking?
Yeah. Let me find one. Excuse the silence, people. I'm gonna.
It's just odd. It looks like it could be like a billboard or something. A billboard that's the wind caught. But if it actually shows like 2 feet moving, that's a whole different.
So hold on. Let's see. I'll back this up a little bit. Present. Share screen. All right. It's up there if you want to pull it up. All right, let me hit play and you guys will see these things in motion. It's pretty wild.
Oh.
Yeah, that's some weird shit. Kick it back and watch it one more time.
Yeah. It almost looks like it's limping.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's so
cool.
Weird. Yeah, and it doesn't look like pants. It's got almost like a small head. That's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Wow, that's wild.
Makes it creepier when you watch it.
Yeah, right? Especially with I don't know if there's sound to the video. I can't hear it, but like just watching it in silence, I just got the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I hope there's no I hope they debunk it because, man, if there's really something out there like that, that kind of scares the shit out of me a little bit.
Yeah, right?
Bitch.
Jesus. All right. I guess I'll do one.
Good.
Okay. So I went a little mainstream for mine, but mainstream, not mainstream. So not the heavy hitters, but ones that I could get some information on. I'm not going to tell you what the first one is because I actually wrote a little story.
I was going to do that to you too, but I couldn't think of a way to kind of introduce a Fresno Nightcrawler without saying.
Right. So for this one, I read the legend. Well, what was that? Why do things keep sounding off?
That was your mom.
Oh,
She just shot me a text. Which is weird because when we were off the air, she texted me and you couldn't hear it,
huh?
which is bizarre.
That's fine.
So now you're hearing them,
Yeah, that's whatever.
which
I
is
mean,
great.
yeah, that's all right. Yeah. So for my intros, like I said, I did a little bit of a story. I read the legend of this first one, and I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of cool. I can kind of create my own story around it." It's not great, but it kind of gives you the gist of like where it came from, how it started, and then I'll get into some information. So bear with me while I read my own work to an audience. This is gonna be great. All right. The winter would be a cold one. The hunter could feel it. It would only be a matter of time before he had to go back out for the hunt. The supply of meat from the last kill was dwindling, and he would never see his family starve. He had talked to his brother that morning, both sharing the same thought. They would leave in the morning before the incoming winter storm consumed the forest. Gathering their equipment, spears, knives, whatever rations they could spare, and plenty of warm furs, they set out. The trip would be long, but this wasn't their first hunt. They knew what was at stake if they failed. Their families would go hungry, and that was not an option. Saying goodbye to their families, they set out for the forest. Minutes turned into hours as the two hunters journeyed through the forest in search of food. The wind was picking up around them, and snow had begun to fall. It was getting dark. The storm would be on top of them soon, and they had nothing more than a few berries the animals hadn't gotten to yet. They were in desperate need to find meat, so the search continued. Luck was not on their side. Hours later, the storm arrived. Wind swept through the forest like the ravaging storm it was, and still the hunters had nothing. The animals must have felt the storm coming. They began the trek home empty handed. On their way back, they spotted a set of tracks. The hunters looked at each other in shock. It was a single pair of unclothed feet in the freshly fallen snow. As the storm raged around them, they decided to follow. Could it have been someone from their tribe who had followed and gotten lost in the storm? They couldn't know for sure, but they wouldn't let the man be swept away by the storm. Traversing the snow-ridden forest was not an easy task. Most of the hunters' energy was depleted, but it was too late to go back now. While following the tracks, they could hear the man yelling for help. They felt like they recognized the voice, but through the roar of the storm, it was unclear who it could be. They pressed on as the tracks seemed to be getting fresher, and the sound of screaming became more clear. They were getting closer. Reaching a group of trees, the hunters stopped, noting the tracks ended. Unlike the other ones they were tracking, which had trailed off, these seemed to stop right in the middle of a group of trees. A scream filled their ears, drowning out the roar of the storm. From behind one of the trees, a creature approached. The hunters looked up at the massive beast. They had only ever heard stories of such a creature, the Wendigo. Never would they think they would encounter one. The hunters grabbed their spears and knives and stood at the ready. The beast was too fast. With a swipe of his long arms and extended claws, the hunter watched as his brother was sliced from neck to groin. The beast jumped on him and began feasting, roaring in the cold winter night. Alone, except for the Wendigo, the hunter began to back away, knowing he was no match. The Wendigo snapped its head from the brother's bloodied corpse and screamed in the air before running toward the hunter. The hunter cried out as the Wendigo approached, his brother's flesh and blood dripping from its claws and mouth. The hunter's vision went black. So that's a take on one of the legends or stories of what the Wendigo is.
Yeah, you did way more work than I did, so
It's I hate research, but then if I like start doing it, I get like I get into it.
I knew you're
Yeah.
I knew you're going to go.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. This is why I said in the beginning of the podcast how it's things that aren't necessarily tangible, like a Bigfoot or Loch Ness monster, but it's a long. I'll get into it, but it's a long running folklore.
Yeah.
That
Perhaps
surrounds
more
this.
legend than
Correct, but like I stated, people thought this thing was real, so the forest was kind of a scary place. Um, So the Wendigo is a cryptid spirit, depending on how it's interpreted. It stems from the Algonquin tribe of Native Americans in southern Canada and the northern USA. It is a cannibalistic spirit known for luring its prey in the middle of winter. So it feeds off of, obviously the desperate nature. It can either stalk and eat the humans, or it can possess the human and turn them into cannibals themselves. In Ojibwe, I probably massacred that. But
No,
the name translates to a winter monster cannibal. However, the name could have come from the Algonquin word we neteka wa, which means owl. So what does it look like? Talked about kind of.
Sounds like it looks like a fucking owl.
But it doesn't. I mean, depending on which interpretation you have. It is known to be a giant creature. Some say it can get up to about 15 feet tall, which is pretty fucking huge. I think the average male is 6 feet tall. Maybe
Under that.
Back in Native American times, it was, around 5.5 feet. I don't know those stats, but 15 feet tall is pretty fucking big. It's also said it can grow bigger the more it eats, which is another scary thought. It has a few different appearances. It can have sunken eyes, or they can glow red. I lost my place. Hold on. Yeah. Razor sharp yellow. Huh?
Probably because he has night vision.
Yeah, right. Razor sharp yellow fangs and long sharp claws. It can have hips. It can have hips like a human.
Hourglass.
It can have lips like a human, or it can look like they were chewed off, like it ate it itself. It could be hairless, with hair or patchy hair. They are known to have a foul smell of death that surrounds them, like rotting flesh. So you definitely know when this thing is at least around. Modern interpretations include it having the head of a deer with the antlers and everything, but like long, slender limbs and claws, almost like a Slenderman type thing, but with this evil deer head.
But definitely humanoid.
Definitely humanoid. Yeah. It's bipedal, 2 feet, 2 arms. So they say it's, like I said, it can either stalk or eat the human, or possess them into turning into a cannibal themselves, eventually turning into a Wendigo. So I guess the lore is you're either eaten or you're turned into one.
It wasn't my fault. The Wendigo got me.
Right?
I didn't want to eat that guy.
But he was delicious. I wonder if that's what the Florida guy...
Why'd you start with his dick?
Because if I waited, that'd be gay. I wonder if that's what the Florida guy who did the bath salts and ate the other guy's face. I wonder if that's what he was thinking. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to eat you, but I have to. You're delicious.
No, he just got hit by the Wendigo.
Maybe. All right. It is known to travel in forested and cold areas, obviously, because that's where the myth comes from. It does travel extremely fast in the snow, which its long limbs are that's why it's so big. So it's able to traverse the deep snow from where it comes from. They do have excellent eyesight. I didn't see anything about them having night vision, but fuck it, I'm a doctor in cryptozoology. They have night vision.
Give them night vision.
They also have excellent hearing and smell. So they're almost they have animal senses. So they can tell when someone's getting by. It is a common being mentioned in Appalachian horror. It is known to walk the areas, stalking the residents and travelers of the Appalachian Trail. It is not to be confused with a skinwalker, which is also known to be in forests or valleys or large open spaces. Skinwalker is very different, and we'll probably get to them at a later episode. But yeah, the Wendigo is mentioned a lot in like Appalachia, up around that area. You can see TikToks and stuff of people, filming like just weird shit happening in the woods. Sometimes it's a Wendigo, sometimes it's a skinwalker. Again, two very different things. But the Wendigo in pop culture actually started with the movie Ravenous from 1999.
Yeah, with God, I can't remember his name now.
Guy Pearce.
Train Spotting. Yeah, Guy Pearce is in it.
Yep.
And then what the hell's that? Robert Carlyle.
Yes. Yeah, there was actually a few big names in it. That was that
Jeffrey Jones, the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And
was he really?
From Beetlejuice. He was in it prior to being a child molester.
That guy fingered fucked kids in the park.
He did.
I'm gonna bring it right back to episode 1 or 2.
Podcast over the next, guys. Our final episode.
It was also shown in Guillermo del Toro's Antlers in 2021. I have not seen it yet. That is on my list. Funny enough, I don't know if you knew this, being a Stephen King head. Stephen King actually creates a Wendigo in Pet Sematary. The Wendigo is the one who curses the cemetery that the pets are buried in.
Yeah.
It mentioned something. Yeah, it mentioned something along the lines of a being walking through the forest that that ended up cursing the grounds, and it's a Wendigo.
That's worth another read.
Yeah, I have it on my shelf.
But a child.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the Wendigo. It's a scary fucking thing.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm actually going to make a sign. I'll get a whiteboard. I'm gonna hang it probably on the door behind me.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to say how many days since your last mention of finger fucking kids. And I have a feeling I'm every episode we have to reset that to 0.
This many days without an incident. But it was right. It wasn't me this time. Not that it was me last time, but it was that Jeffrey Jones guy.
Yeah, good for him.
Fucking
Good
that pedo.
That creepy fuck. You can tell by looking at him, the guy's a creep.
Yeah, right.
So, all right. So I guess back to me.
Yeah.
So the next one that I picked is I saw a movie when I was younger. I don't know if I was a kid or a young adult, called Baby Secret of the Lost Legend. And the guy from The Greatest American Hero was in it, William Catt. And I forget who the woman was that was in it. But it takes place in the Congo and is about the Mokele Mbembe.
Abby, when I was looking through a list of cryptids, and Abby brought that up, and I was like, I feel like I've heard of this one.
Yeah, this was one of my favorites. Your mom's going to kill us because we both now use the term "one of my favorites," and all we're going to hear from her is that you can only have one favorite.
Whatever. I have a lot of favorites.
I still love you, hon, but you got to let that one go. All right. So, of all the cryptids that I know of, this is the one that I probably consider to be the most plausible, only because of the vastness of that jungle and the relatively light human population density.
Right.
It seems possible for a creature like that to remain hidden from most of the public eye, and at least anybody who is able to report on it in any kind of mass media way.
Mm-hmm.
So for hundreds,
that's kind of like the oceans. I mean, we know more about space than we know our own oceans. Who's to say that something like the Kraken doesn't exist in fucking wherever, there's so much unexplored that it's plausible these things could be out there.
Phil the Kraken. Sit on that for a second, you'll get it.
I got
it. So for hundreds of years, the Bantu people of the Congo River Basin have seen a water-dwelling, dinosaur-like creature walking the jungles and waterways. They describe it as a brownish-gray creature, approximately the size of an elephant, with smooth skin, a long, flexible neck, a long tail, and a single tooth or horn. They say it most closely resembles a plesiosaur or a sauropod. Think Littlefoot from Land Before Time.
Yeah, I pulled up some pictures.
Yeah, similar to that.
Okay. But a more like it looks like a more manageable size.
Yeah, I'm going to show you one. This is the way they tend to describe it, but this is the only version of this that I've seen. Usually he looks more like the sauropod. But let me see if I can present this to you. Share the screen. Dink a dink a dink dink dink. 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 All right, if you can throw that up for me.
Of course.
So I haven't seen one. I mean, I haven't seen one at all, but I one representation of one that looks quite like this. So this may be kind of an exaggerated visual, but if you kind of look at the pink picture up top, it gives you kind of an idea of scale.
Okay, so I mean, it's big, but not dinosaur big.
So exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So it's not unreasonable that something that size could possibly hide in those.
I mean, it looks probably about the size of an elephant, I would say.
Yeah, I think they say they can reach lengths of 30 feet or more.
Okay.
But yeah, not out of the realm of and I'll get back to the elephant thing in a second. So they've dubbed it Mokele Mbambe, which loosely translates from the Lingala language to one who stops the flow of rivers. Creature is said to be dam or ham.
No, I said damn. That's crazy.
I'm like, why would he say ham?
Get it? Damn. Because it stops rivers.
That's the worst.
Come on, that was fucking great.
So the creature is said to be extremely territorial, and he's been known to attack boats and kill the crew members. But oddly enough, he doesn't eat them. He leaves the bodies untouched, and as such is expected to be an herbivore.
So why?
Territorial. They're
territorial. Yeah.
You said it during our death penalty episode. You come to my house, I have the right to kill you.
That's true. So, I may eat all the leaves I want, but if you hurt my family, I'll fucking kill you.
Right. Or if you step in my water.
Yeah. What you doing in my waters, fool?
Right.
It's an old Greg reference. I'm old Greg.
What?
Trust me, there people watching will know. Right. I'm old Greg. I got a mangina.
All right. Somebody write in the comments and tell me what the hell he's talking about.
I'd rather hear
you guys than Christian. So
we should do a podcast where we watch that.
We should do a podcast where I get through my sentence.
Sorry, I totally Bert Kreischer you. My bad.
Local tribes like the Bakongo and the Pygmies have passed down stories of this creature for generations, but it was first recorded by let's say people, non-tribal people, in 1776 when Abbe Livain Bonaventure Proyer, told of French missionaries who found tracks of immense proportions deep in the jungle. Tracks had claw marks and measured about 3 feet in circumference. So European explorers started taking notice in the early 20th century and launched several expeditions with none of them yielding any proof. Skeptics believe the creatures are misidentified elephants or perhaps remnants of tails of the black rhino, which used to thrive in that region. So there remains no physical evidence of these creatures, which may be a good thing, because if they were proven real, what would we as people do? We would undoubtedly hunt them and likely bring them to extinction, because people suck.
Mm-hmm.
If it is real, its existence is already threatened by the political unrest of the Congo and rapidly spreading deforestation, which is not cool. I wanted to pull up real quick, if I can, a video. There was one expedition that claims to have caught it on video.
All right.
Clear that. Present. Share screen. Talking to you guys.
You're using Chrome, right?
Yes.
All right. So it should have the audio with it. Perfect.
I think this is the one I want. Here it is. All right, you can pull that up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get rid of this down here. And
your volume's off.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We don't need that. It's just obnoxious when it's on. So that's it flying over. And if you look down, I think it's toward the bottom left of the screen coming up. They fly over the water. And it was nice of them to put subtitles up too. But right there in the water, and then you'll see a head.
Oh,
You'll see a head. It's like the old Bigfoot footage. You got to stabilize that shit. But
that's definitely something.
yeah, and you can see the neck. Now
That's either the neck or the horn.
Yeah, to me, that looks like an elephant. I don't want to ruin anybody's parade, but if you take it back to that last picture I showed you too, let me present that again.
Yeah,
if I can kind of go over that real quick.
Yeah, that's the problem with these pictures is
for me.
They are so far away.
Yep.
That like it could literally be anything,
Yeah. Like a swimming elephant. So if you kind of look at this picture here, imagine, if you will, that being the trunk and somebody looking at it from the side and having the tusk. So that's what they saw. But if you put that horn a little bit lower,
right,
the head of an elephant, the trunk going up, and then that tusk coming up and sticking out. Maybe it only had one tusk. The other tusk could have been broken off. Or, like I said, remnants of tails of the black rhino. Could be confused for rhino, and people are kind of adding in the other details as people are wont to do.
Right.
So,
oh man, I want things like this to exist so bad.
Yeah, I have to try to be honest. It's like, like my feelings on Bigfoot. I've kind of given up on that too. I want my feelings to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think that.
Yeah.
Like we said, the heavy hitters, the Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster. I don't know if they exist, and if they do, Bigfoot is an alien entity. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll cave into the Bigfoot episode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, I will throw it to you.
Awesome. All right, I wrote another story for this one. Just to I don't know, heed my creativity a little bit. Again, I'm not gonna tell you what it is. We'll see if you can figure it out through my soothing, suave voice and beautiful worded story. All right.
That's lovely. That's gonna be great for you who are just listening.
Well,
so
watch on YouTube. You can watch me clear my throat. All right. It was a cold, overcast day on December 15th, 1967. You told your kids the day before that you were going on a holiday trip to their grandparents, your in-laws. It had been a while since you were all there, so it was time to take the long drive. After you moved to Ohio from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, due to job relocation, the travel to your wife's parents' house had become far and few between. You packed up the car, a brand new station wagon, thanks to the new job, and strapped in the kids. They were excited to see Grandma and Grandpa again. They knew what that meant, and that meant getting sweets. And Mom couldn't say no because Grandma would scold her. You kissed your wife in the passenger seat and began the drive. You missed the scenery and the banter between the kids in the back. It felt good knowing your family was all together again. You remember the scenic trip from the move to Ohio. Your favorite part? The Silver Bridge. You loved looking out on the Ohio River, seeing boats floating around, knowing whoever that was, they were having the time of their life. You always wanted a boat, but your wife wouldn't have any of it. It's too expensive, she said, and deep down, you knew it was true. Still, however, looking out on the Ohio River gave you such pleasure. Unfortunately, you left late. The traffic was unbelievable. What was supposed to be a nice, relaxing trip turned into bumper-to-bumper traffic. The kids didn't mind. They were playing I Spy and trying to decipher the shape of clouds. Your wife was in the middle of one of her books. She always seemed to be nose deep in those things. At least you'd be able to look out at the river when you got to the bridge. Finally, you saw the entrance of the bridge. Your heart raced, knowing that at any moment you'd be gazing across the river, the smell of the wind on the river, like the boats cruising back and forth. Wait, what was that? Was that a... No, it couldn't be. There are no birds that big. It looked like a man with wings and glowing red eyes. You turned to your wife to ask if she saw it, but you saw her face go pale and she began to scream. The kids in the back stopped bickering and began to frighten. You looked back out of your windshield. The thing was gone, and so was the bridge. Do you know what it is?
I do.
All
I'll
right.
let you tell it though.
So this is the Mothman. That was again a little fun little exercise of me trying to explain it, showing not telling, as I read it. But yeah, this is the Mothman. One of my favorites, only because it is terribly mysterious. And it has such a small window of sightings, but they're all, for the most part, verifiable, which is not to say for some other cryptids.
By reputable people.
Yes, yeah. I found a lot more than I knew about the Mothman while researching this, which was pretty cool. So yeah, the Mothman sightings occurred between 1966 and 1967. So only about a year or two of these sightings. There are some later, but this was like the main cluster. It was just a small cluster of activity. It was first seen November 15th in 1966. Two young couples from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, Roger and Linda Scareberry and Steve and Mary Millette, were driving down a dark road at night. I don't know if they were in the same car or if they were driving separately. Nothing I could find deciphered that. But they were driving down a dark road at night as their headlights caught the creature. It was large and had glowing red eyes. It looked like, quote, a flying man with 10-foot wings. They were driving through a part of town called the TNT area, as it was a place of a World War II munitions plant. That's something you'll notice too with this Mothman, is he kind of hangs around places of significance. That's just like his MO. After that, two volunteer firefighters sighted the creature as well. They described it as, quote, a large bird with glowing red eyes. And again, the red eyes stand out. So that's quite a weird thing that, two firefighters are now seeing this thing with red eyes around the same time. The sightings did stop after the collapse of the Silver Bridge, which was an actual collapse. It connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia to Canuga, Ohio. There are pictures of it. Actually, let me see if I can get a quick picture of it.
Yeah, as far as those couple, I believe from what I've read, or from what I understood, what I've read, they were in the same vehicle together.
They were? Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So it killed 46 people. It was during heavy rush hour traffic. And the bridge just collapsed. But it is said that the Mothman was seen on the bridge and took off right before it collapsed.
So do you know if anybody who went into the water came out, or did everybody who went in die? If you don't know, that's okay. It's just.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know 46 were killed. I assume most of them perished. I can't imagine cars back then being easy to get out of in a situation like that. I mean, looking at the bridge, it seemed pretty, pretty devastating. I mean, that's the entire bridge is gone. I doubt anybody would come out of that. Plus, it's the middle of when was the point collapse? When did I say 1967? December 15th. Yeah, in the story, December 15th. Yeah, December 15th, 1967. That water's fucking cold. There is no way you're getting out of that. So I doubt anybody got through. But I don't know. They could have.
That's
so
you wonder why I hate fucking bridges.
Oh, I can't stand them. I can't stand every time we drive over, I white knuckle the steering wheel just to fucking get past it. So what does the Mothman look like? I kind of described it. But he is said to be about 6 to 7 feet tall. So an average man size, 2 to 7 feet tall. And it's said to have a wingspan of 10 feet tall, or of 10 feet long, rather. So this thing's pretty big, pretty noticeable. I don't think there are many birds that are 6 feet tall with a 10-foot wingspan. I know there are birds with big wingspans, but I mean, 10 feet's fucking big. That's like pterodactyl size. It has a muscular body with dark gray fur covering most of it. And it has big fucking red eyes. If I hadn't
Yeah,
stated that before.
you did. I'm wondering if you're going to do one tonight that doesn't have red eyes.
Well, I mean, the Wendigo, it's said to have glowing red eyes, but I think that's one of the things added to it. I think it more had like the sunken eyes, you know. So other places it's been seen. So this is years, about 20 years after its first initial sighting. It was seen April 26th, 1986. Do you know what that date is off the top of your head?
April 26, 1986.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That is the Chernobyl disaster.
Oh.
Yes, it was seen by several workers taking off right before the that terrible disaster. It was also seen right before the 2011 Japan tsunami that claimed about 20,000 lives and triggered the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear accident.
I think I'd actually heard that one. I didn't know about the Chernobyl one, but
yeah. So if for the listeners, if you don't see, it's popping up around these disasters, like right before these disasters happen. It was also seen before the 1999 Russian apartment bombings in Moscow.
what year?
1999.
So this is spanning like, now it's generational.
Yes. Yeah. So now we're in that almost modern times. Even though the first sighting was on November 15th, 1966, a man named Jeff Wamsley claimed to have weird events happen on November 14th, 1966. So this is I guess the day before those two couples saw him. So
the Scareberries.
Yeah, right.
Who's famous being afraid? We're the Scareberries.
The Scareberries. Which makes me think, did they might have planned this. What are the color of berries? Red. And what were they? They were scared. Scareberries, the red eyes of the moth. Maybe they made it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm grasping at straws, but we're talking about cryptids here. So this Jeff guy, Wamsley.
My name is Jeff.
My name Jeff. So his TV started going all wacky and making these crazy noises. Different than a 1966 TV would. I don't know what kind of noises they made.
Move the rabbit ears. Hold the antenna.
Yeah.
Put tinfoil.
And then it exploded, which is, I guess, not common for a TV to just fucking explode. I mean, even back then. He also heard a loud noise outside. He let his dog out because it was going crazy, but he never saw his dog again.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yep, there it is. He lived behind a field and said that there were red flashing lights that were visible from his house. When he went out the next day, the grass was flattened like a crop circle. So the Mothman could be a alien entity, maybe? Wamsley stated at a conference meeting at the Wells Public Library in Albany that, quote, 4 things came together. First, the UFOs. Second, the Mothman. Third, the Men in Black. And finally, the collapse of the Silver Bridge. So he himself kind of put these weird things together. He saw this UFO thing and then heard about this Mothman thing. I guess there was some incident with Men in Black, and then the bridge collapsed. So it's all very, very kind of weird. Though it had a very small window of sightings, they do continue to this day. Not as much. It's like I said, it's not like a Bigfoot where someone's seeing it every fucking weekend, real or fake or whatever. It happens very, very rarely. Some people think it came from the depth of hell, while others claim that it has alien origin, like Bigfoot. But we're like I said, we can do a whole different episode on cryptids linked to aliens. However, it is a non-malevolent cryptid. I know it's sighted around disasters, but it's not creating these disasters. It's not there to cause any harm, even though it looks like something that's going to wreak havoc. So it kind of has that just juxtaposition. People say that it's there to warn that something is going to happen. Almost like, say it is an alien entity, and there are aliens, watching us, or protecting us, making sure we don't die from nuclear war. It could be something that was sent down, like, hey, just a heads up, if you see me, something's gonna happen, like, be careful. But again, it's very far and few between. So Mothman in pop culture, it's really not there. It was portrayed in a 2002 movie called The Mothman Prophecies, which actually gets into the Silver Bridge collapse. I've never seen it. I'm gonna add it to the list.
Yeah, Richard Gere's in that. It's not that great a movie.
No,
it's worth it. It's worth it to watch something about the Mothman. But
yeah, well, it seems like I've read kind of the synopsis, and it kind of follows the legend of the Silver Bridge incident. Except it gives the Mothman like telepathic powers or something that he gives, whatever. Which, he's a fucking cryptid. It could happen.
They do what they want with him.
Right. That's the Mothman. One of my favorites. One of the most mysterious, which is why I like it so much. But kind of irrefutable. I mean, people have seen this thing. No real evidence of it anywhere else other than right before these crazy disasters.
Here's where I come in, though.
Go ahead.
In that Point Pleasant one, especially, they say it could have been, I believe it was like whooping crane.
Yes, yeah, or herons.
Yeah, or great herons, and whooping cranes are supposedly huge.
Mm.
And it was right about the time that they would be coming through that area. So people think it may have been a misidentified whooping crane.
As most cryptids are, or they're misidentified. You're seeing something in a panic, your brain's going to remember something, not a bird. You're going to see this fucking creature, So,
yep. Cool. Very nice. Very nice.
It's nice yawning in the middle of a podcast.
Sorry, my bad. It's been a long couple weeks.
Yeah.
I haven't slept in days.
So what do you think? We got 2 more for each of us.
Yep.
You want to?
I got one more. Hey, we got one more each.
Yeah, but between the two of us, one more each. Do you want to pause it for a part 2?
Yeah, we can do that, and maybe I'll come up with another one.
Yeah, maybe, give us another time.
Next episode.
Yeah. Wow, this is our first part 2 episode. This is kind of cool.
Woo woo. All right. Cool. Let's call it there. We were less funny this episode, I think.
Yeah, this was more informational. We're still trying to get into the groove, I think, trying to figure out information and comedy, and are we even really that funny?
We're pretty funny.
Do we just make fart and cum jokes?
We're pretty funny. I think we try not to force it.
Yeah. It happens when it happens.
Yeah, like fart and cum joke. That's good. I know who you're referring to on that. the basest of humor.
All right.
Cool. So
in the comments, this is going on YouTube and Spotify. So in the comments, if you guys want us to talk about a cryptid that you want to hear, we'll absolutely ignore that and then pick our own. No, we'll definitely. We want to do more long format episodes for things that we can actually research. Like I said, we're still farting around trying to figure out what the heck we're doing.
Our dynamic.
Yeah. So yeah, leave a comment for what cryptid you either like or you want to hear, and we'll try and research it. All right.
All right. We're working on getting the socials up too, so hopefully we'll have a presence soon on TikTok and Instagram at the very least.
Agreed. We will have a Facebook. Fuck Twitter, or X, whatever it is. I don't care. I don't care that it's a Musk entity. I care that it's a garbage platform, and most of the people on Twitter are garbage human beings, which is everybody. So, yeah, I fucking hate Twitter. It's just a cesspool of mean-spirited trolls, and it's just not good.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't stand Twitter.
Platform. There's none of that on TikTok.
It's different. Twitter, it's like a direct connect to assholes. I don't know. There's something different about it. People are just I feel people are way worse on Twitter than they are on other platforms. I don't know.
So
That's just me.
can we keep calling it Twitter?
Twitter, X, whatever. I don't fucking care. I hate it. We will not have a Twitter or X.
Between that and New Haven style pizza, you're gonna get us canceled by episode 5.
Awesome. Bring it.
Jesus. All right. So we'll see you here again next week.
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see you guys next week.
Give us a like, give us a share, give us a listen. Look, it's on Spotify now, so you don't have to sit and watch it. You can put it on and do your chores or do your driving and just let it play. We encourage you guys to listen to the end of these things. Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. And the video is also available on Spotify because sometimes we do like this episode, we'll do visual things. So you can pop in if you're watching on Spotify, pop in, check out what we're looking for, and then close your phone and it'll continue playing. So yeah.
Cool. All right.
Bye, fuckers.
Peace out.